Today we're talking about captain's masts. I got a question in the comments section and I'm gonna try and answer it the best I can. I'd like you to subscribe. Thank you. If you break a law, let's say you steal something. In the civilian world, you have the court of law, and then in the military, you have the UCMJ, Uniform Code of Military Justice. They're similar, but there's many more situations that you would never encounter, like treason. You would not encounter that in the civilian world. So that would fall into the UCMJ rather than outside in the civilian world. And we'll get into court-martials and captain's mast, the difference between those two later. But yeah, UCMJ, Uniform Code of Military Justice, this is the law of the United States military. It crosses all branches, and it's something you need to be aware of. The history of the captain's mast, back in the day, if somebody got in trouble on a ship, they would have a public captain's mast, and it would be held underneath the mast of the warship. So the mast of the warship is like that big pole hanging out of the middle of the warship, sticking out of the middle of the warship. We fly flags on it, and we have lights on it, and it's a way we communicate to other ships. And it also has speakers if we need to like sound sirens or whatever. Underneath the captain's mast, the captain would set up a pulpit, he would look down on his crew, and then the person that committed a crime would be judged. The captain's role in a captain's mast is judge, jury, and executioner. Chiefs would be the next most important people on the ship, considering most of these infractions happen with the enlisted crew. And if it is the enlisted crew, the chiefs will be involved heavily in the discovery of the case. So you say you got somebody who stole something. Before it reaches the captain's mast, before it gets to that level, the chiefs will find all the information pertaining to that crime. And then they'll be able to present both sides to the judge, to the captain during the captain's mast. It's usually held in a small room. It's usually held privately. Now they can be held publicly depending on the severity of the offense, or if the captain really wants to send a message, it can be held publicly with the whole crew watching and the whole crew witnessing the judgments. Master at Arms also plays a huge role in this situation. Master at Arms in the Navy is like an MP, military police in the Army, Air Force, and the Marines. And the Master at Arms is in control of the captain's mast. They run the whole procedure. They make sure that the person is in the right uniform and presenting his case and is respectful during the whole proceeding. This is a very serious event. There's no coking and joking in the captain's mast. And so they control it. If the culprit of the crime lashes out, starts talking smack or whatever, the MA can escort that person out of there or whatever. I'll give you a couple examples right here. We had a kid that kept on screwing up. He kept on doing dumb little minor things, right? Not showing up to watch, sleeping on watch. And it got to the point where we're like, okay, we need to send a bigger message. So we write him a counseling sheet. Hey, this is your first warning. You fall asleep on watch. You don't show up on time. That's one warning. If you get 3, you're going to go to the captain. You're going to go meet the man. And the first thing that they're going to do is the chiefs are going to hold a discovery in the chief's mess. They're going to bring in all the people that are involved with that. In the case that we're talking about right now, I was the LPO of a situation where we had a kid that was just goofing off. He was a young kid, 17. He was a goofball. I didn't want the kid to go to captain's mast. We tried everything but a counseling shit, and it didn't work. So nothing was working, so he had to go to the captain's mast. In the captain's mast, very serious situation. I was really nervous. Everybody's like deadpanned. Captain's in front. MA walks in. Master at Arms walks in the person that committed the infraction and maintains the order of the room. The captain then says, hey, this is what you're being charged with or is accused of. What's your take on it? Then that person goes and stands off to the side, and then they bring in the discovery. I was brought in to talk my piece, tell my story about the kid. I actually biffed the question. The captain asked me a question about the kid. It was so loud in this room I didn't hear it, so my answer was completely off. It got some snickers from the chief. I got put back into line. If you do get in trouble for a captain's mast, you can get your rank busted down. We had a kid, the kid that I'm talking about, he was busted down. He actually had his captain's mast, got in trouble. A week later, got in trouble again, went to his second captain's mast. And then there was this big argument between the chiefs on, it was pretty spirited. Most of the chiefs wanted him out. The chief that was in control of him and his people wanted him in, kept him in. He was safe, but he lost 2 ranks in 1 week, and he got busted down from E3 to E1 and thwarted his career considerably. But he ended up working out. He was a great kid, and he's now doing great in life, so it's not that big of a deal. So what happens is when you get in trouble and you get found guilty in a UCMJ captain's mast, you will muster with the master at arms 3 times a day in a different uniform. So in the morning it'll be, your dress white uniforms, and dinner time it'll be dress blues, and at lunch it'll be some other uniform. And then you will be escorted to wherever cleaning station or whatever hard work or hard labor station that the master at arms can think of. It's usually down in the bilges of the ship. So the ship is the draft of the ship comes down at an angle like that, and at the bottom of that ship is this disgusting muck. It's got everything inside of it. You got the gas, you got the salt water, you got all the muck from all the engines, everything settles down into the bottom of the ship. And so the people that get in trouble with captain's mast have to clean that, and it is not fun. And your life when you're in trouble is not going to be good. So that's hard labor is kind of getting off easy, to be honest with you. The thing that you are holding on to when you sign that paper and you join the military is your benefits. It is, and actually, if you look at it in real terms, they're giving you, when you sign up, they're giving you $100,000, right? You're going to get to go to school. You're going to get it paid for. You're going to get housing paid for as soon as you get out of the military. It's a sweet deal. You want to hold on to those benefits. Back in the day, they used to have this thing with the sailors that they can request bread and water. Now, bread and water is a challenge to the captain's mast, saying, instead of putting me on, this detail for 2 months, I would like to do bread and water for a smaller sentence. And they don't do that anymore, but allegedly bread and water means you're sitting in a brig, you get a piece of bread and you get water at lunch, dinner, and breakfast, and that's it. You spend like a week in solitary confinement, and I hear it's pretty brutal, but they don't do it anymore, so forget about that. Some of the things that can happen: if you do drugs, you're out of the military. But according to the captain kind of has the power to take away your benefits, the power to kick you out of the military, and the power for you to keep your benefits depending on what the crime is. But if you're getting kicked out of the military, it's a real problem if you lose that 100,000 nest egg, your safety net. So don't do crimes. Then they have certain levels of it. Other honorable charge would be something like sexual assault, SA, and that is a much more severe crime. So the captain will go through the captain's mast, find the discovery, and it's usually then transferred over to a court-martial. The court-martial is handled by JAG officers, the Navy lawyers, and they will take it, and it'll be prosecuted much like it is out here in the civilian world. And then we have military jails and stuff like that. But if you do a civilian crime, you could do time in both places. In a situation at Assault Craft Unit 1, my second command, we had a guy commit an SA against his wife, and he was put through a captain's mast, and he was put in a holding period in lived in the brig and lived on base, and was constantly in this mode of cleaning or helping until the court-martial happened, until he went to trial outside, and I think he's still in jail for what he did. So during that time, before it goes to court-martial, if you do something really bad, then they can subject you to certain punishments, like, in one case, in the case that I'm talking about, the poor guy had to face me in an OC spray. He'd been OC sprayed before, but he's getting out of the military. He's getting kicked out. He's losing his benefits, but and I took care of him. One of my jobs was duty master at arms. So I was like rent a cop. So our master at arms was a chief, and when he was gone and he was off duty or whatever, and I was on duty, I performed his roles, and sometimes his or her role, sometimes that involved me being inside of captain's mast. So I would sit outside the captain's mast. They'd have their meeting. The captain would be talking to the chiefs, and they'd be just getting all the information out before the mast started. And then I would walk the perpetrator into the room, stand him in a specific spot, a certain amount away from the captain so he can't lunge out and do something stupid. And I would stand right to the side of him. And if there was any type of movement towards the captain or towards the chief, then I'm coming off the top rope. And that's how it goes. In one situation, we had a kid that stole green gear, stole encrypted radio, like big old chunk of encrypted radio. Everybody knew he stole it, but he sold it or hid it or did something with it before, there was really no witnesses, but they knew he had stolen this green gear because he was the only one responsible. He was the only one around it at the time. So he stole it, he sold it. It was not a treason. There wasn't enough evidence to really get the kid hard, but he was kicked out of the command. I don't know exactly how much what his punishment was in total, but he did not lose his benefits, and the captain held mercy on that person. So it can go, and the captain's judge, jury, and executioner. They can save you, or they can kick your butt. So stay away from stealing. The major things that people get in trouble for in the military: theft, drugs, and sexual assaults. There's a lot of SAs, and if there is an SA, that's a court-martial situation. If there is an SA, then you're out of the military. You're going to lose your benefits. Drugs, you might not lose your benefits. Theft, you probably won't lose your benefits. But it's important for you to keep your punk-ass lifestyle from prior to the military, out of the military, because you're tasked now to uphold the law of American military, American Navy, and we don't act like other countries. Kids not showing up for work or sleeping on watch or whatever. Those are pretty serious situations because if you did that in war or whatever, you could be directly blamed for getting people killed or whatever. So show up to watch, shave your face, eat something before watch, stay awake. I sleeping and watch was my bane. If somebody was sleeping, it was like, there was a fight coming. Now, back in the day in the United States military, they used to have things called smokers. So instead of it getting to the chiefs, instead of it getting to the officers, they would handle it in-house. Sometimes that meant a fight or whatever. But if it was squashed there, it was squashed there. Kid doesn't learn his lesson, counseling shit, and then that's it. He goes to the captain's mast, sees the man makes a judgment on him. And it's usually hard labor, and it's not fun. You want to be there, present with your people, learning the rate. If you learn your rate, you can advance. I tell you what, if you get in trouble, everybody knows on the ship, it's a big rumor mill. Everybody is going to be a part of that in some way, shape, or form. It's best to not even mess with it. Don't steal somebody's stuff. If you have stuff, you got to lock it up. That's just part of it. A lot of people come into the military and bring their skank ass life to the military, and they don't change, and they don't want to help the country. They're just scumbags. So they end up weeding themselves out and going to captain's mast just like that. So stay out of trouble in the military. It's not worth it. Hold on to that big old golden egg and the benefits that you have. And there's specific situations, man, where I was like, I straight up told my people that I'm probably going to get in trouble for bashing this dude or whatever. And you have to think twice, because if you get into a fight or something and you do something stupid, I'm just thinking about this one kid. I was in Singapore. There's this Marine on our ship that went to this place called the Orchard Towers in Singapore, and there was a band playing. The band took a break. This Marine thought, wow, that's a nice guitar. Takes the guitar and walks out. My job during this theft was duty master at arms, coincidentally. So me and a pilot who was also duty master at arms, he was walking around. We were walking around Orchard Towers, making sure nobody was getting in too much trouble. And we got notified that there was a theft, and got the video, and the video is plain as day. This kid's walking out with the guitar. And so the video was proof. Couldn't find the guitar. They ended up finding the guitar eventually, returning it to this poor brothel band guy. And kid had to face UCMJ. And under the Marines, when you're on a warship, you're going to be under the captain of the ship's, the Navy captain's UCMJ judgment. So I don't know. I wasn't a part of that thing. The video was proof enough. The guitar was proof enough. So the guy got in trouble, but I don't know how that went. But yeah, it's pretty entertaining, to be honest with you. Somebody gets in trouble or whatever, it spreads around the ship. Everybody knows about it, and the justice is served. Here's another scenario. I was at Assault Craft Unit 1. That's the Navy. That's the amphibious base in Coronado. That's where all the SEALs and them are. That's where Buds is. And there was a goofball undesignated seaman that was working on base, and he was wearing a trident on his uniform. And so he was obviously had a screw loose. And so Navy SEALs caught wind of this. That person went to captain's mast on the command. For that command, I think it was a Seabees command. And then they went to captain's mast with the Navy SEALs. So it was a double dip. I'm not sure, but that's something that in the military you have to really watch out for too. It's really easy to disguise stolen valor. You can throw a pin on there or throw something up on your chest piece, and you can get in real trouble for that. You can't get in that much trouble in the outside world. You get a reprimand from some retired Army guy or whatever if you're dealing with stolen valor. But stolen valor is a big thing with the UCMJ. You don't wear stuff. You don't wear ribbons. You don't wear devices on your uniform that you didn't earn, and there's not paperwork to prove it. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways people get in trouble in the military, and they're gonna invent new ways to get in trouble while you're in there. You're gonna see some wild stuff, that's for sure. And theft is probably the biggest one, and sexual assault is huge too. So stay away, stay with friends. If something happens like that, if there's a minor infraction, try to handle it in-house. And if it's something like theft or whatever, you get something stolen, the highest that should go is the chiefs. Handle it. If you got to take care of it one way or another, you got to take care of it that way. Today's military, you're probably going to get some paperwork done on you, which really never solves anything, but that's the way it goes. You can get a counseling chit for all kinds of things, like you show up late, you get a counseling chit. You do something contrary to what your job is, you get a counseling chit. But you get 3 of those, you go to see the man. One thing to note about going to a captain's mast is service stripes. So on a dress uniform, a Navy dress uniform, on the left sleeve, you're going to have service stripes, 1 stripe per 4 years in the military. You'll see some older folks with a bunch of service stripes. And if you have been caught in the UCMJ, you've gone to captain's mast and been charged, those stripes turn to red. Okay, that's all for captain's mast. I hope that answered your question. Hold on to that nest egg, that benefit that you get, that golden goose that you have when you cross the blue line. That $100,000 is waiting for you. It's a big deal. You should be going to school afterwards just to buy yourself time at least. So anyway, hold on to that. It's not worth it. You want to do drugs or whatever, seemingly the easiest way to get out of the military is get popped for drugs. And that's a weak way to go. But that's part of it. You're going to see a lot of crimes committed while you're in the military because it's a bunch of rambunctious people. And a lot of people bring their lives into the military instead of dropping them off at MEPS. So that's how it goes. I hope you liked the video. Please subscribe. Thank you.